somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, I always remind you that it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say greetings to the world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we connect with you all across the globe. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I'm at liberty to say good afternoon. And I'm at liberty to say good morning, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you find yourselves. And you're connected to Straight Talk coming all the way from St. Kitts and Nevis. Therefore, it behoves me to say a very pleasant night to St. Kitts and Nevis and to the entire Caribbean region. As we reach and we connect with you way down south in Guyana, Subi, good night. I can also say in Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, come up to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Grenada, Dominica, yes, we cover you, as well as Martinique, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda next door. I haven't heard from Montserrat in a long time, But over there in Nevis, my Straight Dog family, and we going west to Statia, Central Statia, Sabre, St. Martin and Guilla, the BVI and the USVI, and in Puerto Rico también, and wherever you are, we know for sure you are in Asia, you are in Africa, you are in Europe, and a lot of you are all over North America. So let me say welcome wherever you are, and in particular I say greetings and to the first timers, and I trust and hope it won't be your last time. Just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interests, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On this program, you have a forum rather to express yourselves freely. And on this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd. I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation. My Straight Dog family, I always pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. And I'm reminded of the words of a favorite hymn of mine. They are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. So let's seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So my Straight Dog family, I'll always hasten to remind you, and for those who are first-timers, to inform you that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We never try to make it more interesting by doing so, nor by omission, neither by exaggeration. We are not about sensationalism, not at all. We are not about creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we always try to lead on the facts. Yes, it's my bounden duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, integrity, right here in St. Kitts, and as a matter of fact, wherever it looms its head, any part of the world, we promote good governance, transparency, and integrity. But the program joins us together with people all across the Federation. We are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. And my Straight Dog family, there's some we have met, some we know very well, others we do not know, and many we will never meet. And I mean physically, because we meet spiritually most times. And some will agree with the positions of truth advanced on Straight Talk every single Monday and Thursday. We meet you and greet you every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the p.m. And we have no issues if you disagree. That's okay, because we promote a diversity of views. All colors, all shapes, all shades, I should say. And what will sadden me though, my Straight Dog family, if we ever start to become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And we pray that one day we will all sing His praise together. And I must also inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we entertain your calls, we entertain your emails, and if you're so minded to call in, the numbers are on your screens, on your monitors there. And those of you who like the cloak of anonymity, we give you access via our email platform, and the address is also listed there, straighttalk@gmail.com. Straight Talk Patches, that's one word, at gmail.com. Some of you have the Alexa app. Yes, you do. And we are also streaming via Alexa. All you have to do, if you have that app, say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. And I thank the host, Massive, for his generosity, I should say, in giving us access at modest cost, my dear brother. And there are some of you who have made donations. I'll have to to provide an update so I can acknowledge receipts simultaneously whenever you do make such donations. We are grateful for your support to our efforts, or for our efforts. And here on Straight Talk, I must say a big, big thank you to all. I must also reassure you that no matter how small your contribution is or was, it will help or would have helped to continue these important discussions. So don't you stop giving, because it helps to defray our costs, to maintain our commitment to public service, because this is all about public service, trust me. No matter what they may try to say, it's all about public service. So others who wish to donate can simply scan the code on your screen. It's right on your screen. And very simple process. You can access the payment form, and you are an integral part, or more integral part of the program, because you all are integral to the program. So thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And those who are with me all the time, you know that I am duty bound to recognize my junior brigade. Yes, young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, young Rue Costa over there in North Carolina. Hope your granny's okay. Travis, Travon, I saw both of them. I tried calling them 2 days ago, but they were in such a haste to get into school that they never heard me. My grandson Neymar, I will never hear the end of it if I never hear Neymar and his dear friend Soraya. The special lady in St. Louis as well, just all is well, and the Queen in Texas, and all of you are queens, believe me. And we usually begin with our observations in review. And following our observations in review, we move to our thesis. Then we entertain or include your calls, your emails, as mentioned earlier. Yes, you get an opportunity to have your say right here on this program. And for our observations in review, or after our observations in review, we will begin our thesis for tonight, titled Uncertainty Looms Over the Future of Our Country. And that's true, and that's sad. So please, therefore, don't change your link, don't change your platform. Just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Alexa. And my first observations, or observation, I should say, my Straight Talk family, I want to refer to what someone described to me as transactional politics. And yes, transactional politics can be risky. And when I mentioned the stake mark Brantley Nevis, someone said not to be so hard on Mark. Mark is just a transactional politician. And I said transactional because in transactional politics, the emphasis is often on immediate. And, tangible rewards or punishments to achieve certain outcomes. You saw what happened in 2022. There's a short-term focus to get rid of one of the best prime ministers we've ever had. And some don't like to hear that, but, I'm one who like to speak the truth. It's my opinion, and based on his performance. For one to lead us through COVID-19. There's no template for any leader to deal with the coronavirus-induced pandemic, one we have not seen in 100 years. The whole world came to an abrupt halt. But my straight talk family, transactional leaders, they tend to generate a lack of trust. Because if politicians or leaders rely too heavily on transactional relationships, where deals are made based on personal gain rather than shared values, it can erode trust with the public and with other political figures as well. And that's what happened with our team unity administration we had. And with transactional politics, there's the potential as well for corruption. Because transactional politics often involves negotiating favors, which can open the door for corruption. And it also induces polarization, because transactional politics may intensify political divisions. My straight talk family, and it's unpredictable. Really, really unpredictable, believe it or not. So while transactional politics can deliver results in the short term, its potential risks, such as fostering cynicism, mistrust, and instability, make it a high-stakes approach. Ideally, political systems need a balance between transactional and transformational leadership to ensure long-term success and fairness. And my straight talk family, when I heard July today, we wondered what happened all the time. But suddenly, July, in his own transactional manner himself, made mention of this, my straight talk family. He said this.
That we have received from the World Bank its recommendations as to how we should share revenues. That we have received from the World Bank its recommendations as to how we should share revenues.
And that was from July. And the snake, he said he spoke with the snake yesterday. The snake made a Facebook post and said he spoke to the Prime Minister. But what took it so long, my straight dog family? Because it was the third Prime Minister who in fact had told the snake, Mark Brantley, that he was going to the World Bank to get a recommendation on how to share the revenue. Although I believe that the Constitution is clear, there's this nonsense talk about tax revenue and non-tax revenue. Those are only economic classifications. Revenue is revenue. Non-tax or tax, it's revenue. They're economic classifications. But recall, my straight dog family, the snake said a sixth former could do that calculation.
It boggles the mind why the Honorable Prime Minister, a trained accountant and highly esteemed, in a notion that we need the World Bank to come in to do a study and to tell us how to calculate the monies received from CBI, subtract the expenses of the program, and divide the balance on a pro rata population basis between Bastia and Charlestown, as was agreed as a central plank of the Team Unity construct. I am certain when I say that any student at the Nevis Sixth Form College or CFBC could undertake that mathematical exercise and bring immediate resolution to a matter which has now festered for 7 long years.
And my straight talk family, you've heard the snake Mark Brantley yourself. You've heard Dr. July said he got information from the World Bank. But he'll try to claim credit for it. But it was the third Prime Minister who in fact went to the World Bank years ago to get that independent recommendation. It would be interesting to hear what the World Bank says and whether the snake would be happy, I should say. And our second observation, my Straight Dog family, I want to state from the bottom of my heart and give commendation to all the stakeholders for the improved citizen security we are enjoying as I speak in the Federation. And we must give credit where credit is due. And that is how Straight Talk operates. We do not talk in a bowling cup, as we say. Dr. July made this announcement just today, my Straight Talk family.
We have seen a significant drop in homicides. A significant drop. The last quarter compared to the previous quarters, you might have seen a drop of well over 60%.
He said that we have seen a drop of over 60%. And as I said, Straight Talk finds it imperative to commend Commissioner of Police James Sutton, his high command, and the rank and file of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force for their untiring efforts that has brought us to this current disposition in relation in particular to homicides in the country. Straight Talk must also commend Acting Commander of the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force, my good friend Coyote Sutton. Is he Major? I don't want to demote him, but let me say my good friend Coyote Sutton and the men and women of the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force. Let's just keep it that way, my Straight Dog family. Let's just work together as a community. Let's just work together as one to ensure that we rid this country of that cancer called crime. So again, Straight Talk and your humble servant must commend all the stakeholders for the improved security in the Federation. Kudos to all. On our third observation, I bring your attention to what I call some confusing signals being sent out by Prime Minister July as it relates to renewable energy development in this country. Because on one hand, Dr. July announced a 50 megawatt solar farm to be coming on stream. Yet on the other hand, he announced that money for geothermal was found. So it's confusing. 50 megawatts. Our demand at present is 28 megawatts, I think it is. And Nevis either 8 or 9, that's 38. But he's announced a 50 megawatt solar farm, beg your pardon. And he said this as well.
We already have commitment for 50 megawatts of solar energy. And I can say today, maybe for the first time plainly, that we have raised the money to start geothermal. We have the money. I'm going to make a declaration very, very soon. I spoke to the Premier of Nevis. If you look at his page, he posted that he and I met. We met to discuss it. The Premier and I, we have met and we have determined, just like the crime situation, this is not going to be a political football.
Well, it's already been a political ball being kicked. I don't know if it's a football. But for the record, my Straight Dog family, he says he's found the money. But for the record, according to the IMF Article 4 report, it requires $400 million to construct that geothermal plant in Nevis. Yes, you heard me right. $400 million. And while we wish the project well, we always did, while we listened to the interconnectivity unknowns, I call them. 300 megawatts. So we're going to sell to Antigua, sell to Guadeloupe, sell all over. Who tells you Gaston Brown wants your energy? At what cost, as a matter of fact? But let's not forget, my Straight Dog family, the many legacy issues, I should say, that still pertain to the development of geothermal.
This geothermal project has been an exercise that has now occupied the minds of governments, and even through change of governments on the island of Nevis since about 2004. And so as we stand here today in November of 2017, we're talking about now 13 years that we have been trying to get to a point where we can move this project forward. I think the advantages of geothermal are well known. We're talking about clean energy, green energy, cheaper energy, and a renewable resource that really puts Nevis in a category of its own. If we can achieve what we intend to achieve here, it means that Nevis becomes fossil fuel free for this generation of electricity. It puts us really in a category of our own in the Caribbean and perhaps in the world in terms of being completely sustainable for our electricity supply.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, those legacy issues date back some 24 years. But Straight Talk will continue to follow this development, my family. And those are my observations in review, and I move right to my thesis, which I have titled, once again, Uncertainty Looms Over the Future of Our Country. And yes, the future of our country is increasingly overshadowed by uncertainty, a force that disrupts the foundations of progress and stability. Whether arising from political instability, economic volatility, or social unrest, this uncertainty casts a cloud over the Federation's trajectory, leaving the future of our country unclear and unpredictable. Politically, the lack of consistent, competent leadership and transparent governance in this country creates a sense of instability. Shifting policies, legal unpredictability, and the lack of cohesion in decision-making processes, I should say, my Straight Dog family, leave citizens uncertain about the direction in which the Federation is heading. And this breeds disillusionment and erodes trust in governmental institutions, weakening the social contract that binds a nation together. Economically, my Straight Dog family, uncertainty discourages investment, disrupts markets, and impedes the growth of key industries. Perhaps that's why we were hearing so long ago that the investors were waiting. We've heard that investors were waiting, my Straight Dog family.
It's quite interesting that after the elections, a number of investors came forward. And they said, Dr. Joe, we had been waiting to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis. And they said, why you didn't do it then? And they said they couldn't do it under the last administration. So we are looking at that, so they'll have more, foreign investment that would help to stir the economy.
And my Straight Dog family, when businesses and individuals are unsure about the future, they are less likely to make long-term plans, leading to reduced economic activity and potential stagnation. So aren't these reasons why the investors are not coming? Economic volatility not only affects wealth creation, but also limits opportunities for job growth and innovation, stalling national development. Socially, uncertainty breeds division and tension. The challenges of navigating the unpredictable environment can exacerbate existing inequalities and deepen social rifts. As groups struggle to secure their place in an unstable future, social cohesion weakens and the fabric of society becomes more fragmented. But it is the global uncertainty and governance that create the most challenges as we speak. The present global landscape is defined by uncertainty across all regions, with communities or countries grappling with political, economic, and social instability. Just turn your television on and you will see, in the United States, looming threats of tariffs on even their neighbors, Canada and Mexico. Tariffs on key trading partners such as China and the European Union have fueled concerns over the future of international trade and its potential impact on national domestic economies like ours. This trade uncertainty has ripple effects on global markets, increasing the unpredictability for businesses, governments, and consumers alike. In the Middle East and Europe, the persistence of armed conflicts and geopolitical tensions is a major source of instability. Protracted wars in Syria, Yemen, and ongoing tensions in Ukraine exacerbate humanitarian crises, challenge diplomatic relations, and hinder economic progress. These conflicts disrupt not only regional stability, but also affect global energy markets, migration flows, and diplomatic alliances. Meanwhile, Africa faces a distinct set of challenges. Many nations on the continent suffer from poor governance and widespread corruption and undermining development efforts and stalling progress. Corruption in public office leads to misallocation of resources, a lack of basic public services, and diminished trust in governmental institutions. These issues, compounded by political instability and economic underdevelopment, contribute to cycles of poverty, inequality, and social unrest. In the Caribbean, a region often viewed as a haven of vibrant culture and natural beauty, governance issues cast a shadow over prospects for progress. Many governments in the Caribbean, and I can talk about St. Kitts Nevis, operate in an opaque manner. They operate in darkness with no transparency in decision making and a lack of accountability in public office. And this leads to poor policy choices, inefficiency, corruption, and widespread frustration amongst the population. Without strong democratic institutions, clear policies, and effective leadership, we in St. Kitts Nevis, like other Caribbean countries, struggle to address pressing issues like poverty, education, and infrastructure development. The common thread uniting these regions is the uncertainty driven by governance failures, whether through the erosion of trade relations, the inability to resolve conflicts, or systemic corruption and lack of transparency. As we face an interconnected world, the need for international solidarity and effective governance becomes increasingly clear, as no region can truly thrive in isolation from the rest of the world. Let us come home to St. Kitts and Nevis. And just yesterday, our crooked Attorney General Glarth Lucifer Wilkin made a presentation on our behalf at the United Nations General Assembly. I intended to share it with you tonight, but I was not going to give him any more credence. He spoke about trading our way to becoming a sustainable state, my Straight Dog family. Trading what, we ask? Trading in Tabasco peppers? What do we have to trade? That's the question we ask, my Straight Dog family.
Our agricultural sector is also undergoing a transformation as we seek to reduce our dependency on imports and empower our local farmers. In this regard, we have partnered with Tabasco to provide our farmers with an unprecedented opportunity to cultivate high-quality peppers for export. Your government has secured the necessary equipment and location to support this initiative, ensuring that our farmers can benefit from this lucrative global market.
My Straight Dog family, the crooked Attorney General placed emphasis on trade, but the United Nations Framework Convention on International Tax Cooperation is an international treaty, my Straight Dog family, an international treaty that deals with a global, or aimed at addressing, I should say, global challenges, particularly in relation to the taxation of cross-border activities. The framework is largely focused on tax avoidance and evasion, improving transparency and creating better systems for exchanging information between tax authorities. So why is this a priority for St. Kitts and Nevis? That's the question we ask. The United Nations has 193 members. So why Garth Lucifer Wilkin volunteers to serve as vice chair on the intergovernmental negotiation team to draft the UN Framework Convention on International Tax? So what? That doesn't mean anything to us. That doesn't mean that you are still not a lawbreaker. That doesn't mean you are still not crooked, Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin. And you still should do the honorable thing and resign. But I need to examine the importance of continuity in government projects, because these projects, particularly large infrastructure and development initiatives, require continuity to be successful. The abandonment of the New Barcy High School project due to political favors or factors represents a setback in both educational infrastructure and governance. The decision, my Straight Dog family, to halt a shovel-ready project in which $21 million was already invested reflects a failure to recognize the continuity of government beyond political administrations. How could you stop, my Straight Dog family, a shovel-ready project just like that? All because of politics, my Straight Dog family. You stopped a shovel-ready project.
There was a shovel-ready project, which is the Barcy High School. The project had already, the plans had already been drawn. The impact studies had already done. But you choose to shelf it. Today, the ordinary man, construction workers, instead of having the tools rusting, could have been there working. People could have been earning money at the Barcy High School. And why it was shut down? Because of politics. It had nothing to do with water, the water situation. So we got to be careful. It's politics why the country is stagnant. As a matter of fact, since the change of government, I am involved in construction. I haven't worked for the year. The country is stagnant, or actually maybe in reverse. It ain't got nothing to do with the farm administration. It is, I think, it's because of incompetence why we are facing the situation that we are facing.
Yes, why we are facing uncertainty. This short-sightedness and or incompetence leads to wasted resources and missed opportunities for the community as it stalls progress on critical capital projects that could benefit future generations. Such actions undermine long-term development and signal a lack of commitment to sustainable governance. This was nothing but a display of pure political immaturity, led by the hard-headed slow student Jeffrey Hanley, who along with his cabinet colleagues ignored sound scientific advice, even from the current manager and water engineer Cromwell Williams, a trained hydrogeologist.
I advise the government that the siting of the new Bastia High School at the said location at Ponds Estate does not pose a threat or danger to our potable water supply. I did so without any reservation or doubt.
No reservation or doubt. No threat to the site. The solar farm initiative as well, which was intended to reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels and promote green energy, suffered a similar fate. A good project, according to Special Advisor to the Prime Minister. And I told you this before, and I need to repeat it.
It is a good project based on our own studies, calling in the expertise from right in the Caribbean to assess. It's a good project. Mm-hmm. They feel that it was properly assessed and the costing was within the range of what it would cost anyway to do that.
Yes, my Straight Talk family. Good project. But these decisions were driven by politics, a lack of foresight, and poor communication, both internally within the government and externally with the public. As a result, the country is left with unfinished projects that could have provided much needed infrastructure and energy solutions. The disruption of these projects only undermines investor confidence, sending a negative message about the stability and reliability of the government. Moreover, such actions waste the resources already invested in these projects, ultimately costing the country more in the long run, my Straight Talk family. Look at our social assistance programs and vulnerability, which are vital in supporting vulnerable populations, such as the elderly, the disabled, and low-income families. These programs are designed to mitigate the efforts or the effects of poverty and ensure that all citizens have access to basic needs like food, healthcare, and education. However, under this July administration, several key social programs have been disrupted or inadequately funded. Think about the Poverty Alleviation Program, the PAP. Major reduction in assistance. And now there's a strong debate about the Budget Booster Wallet, BBW, and its discriminatory impact on the elderly, my Straight Talk family, and the pensioners. This is one of the social initiatives which was introduced to help low-income individuals cope with rising costs. According to July, my Straight Talk family, according to him, he said there's some 2,000 persons on this program, my Straight Talk family.
The Budget Boost Wallet that has been launched, and today we have registered over 20,000 people. As you know, this is one of the government's measures to deal with the cost of living that is affecting the entire globe, not just St. Kitts and Nevis. And as we can see, what's happening in other countries can have further impact on the cost of living. This is really, I consider it to some extent a challenge for all of us, but we'll continue to do the best we can to ensure that our people can have the best life that they can live. Notwithstanding, I must admit that it is challenging for us as it is for others. However, we came up with this innovative idea so that people can be helped from a month-to-month basis for the first 6 months of the year so that they can deal with the essentials and be able to afford some of the essentials. And in addition to that, we have also lowered the VAT from 17 to 13%. It's obvious.
And my Straight Talk family, I said 2,000, I meant 20,000 beneficiaries from the Budget Boost wallet. Budget Booster wallet, I think it is called. However, my Straight Talk family, the BBW program excludes a critical demographic, to wit, the elderly, the pensioners. And many pensioners who had contributed to the economy through decades of work were left out of the program. This exclusion not only shows a lack of appreciation for the elderly, for the pensioners, but also further marginalize them, pushing them deeper into poverty. Pensioners who have worked throughout their lives and paid taxes were totally ignored by the administration's social assistance policies. The failure to provide adequate support for pensioners represents a failure in social justice and reveals the administration's disregard for those who build the country's foundations. Let's just look at food security in my Straight Dog family. In terms of agriculture, the administration's agricultural policies have been ineffective in addressing the country's growing food security concerns. The administration's agricultural policies are disconnected from the realities of the farming community. The announcement, such as growing money on trees, my Straight Dog family, I'm sure we remember this ridiculous announcement by Samuel Duggins.
Marijuana industry, as we've heard, is a multi-billion dollar industry. And we have been dragging at a snail's pace in getting involved. And I could not understand for the life of me why. Literally growing money on trees. But yet somehow, we don't want to participate. But I dare say, that era is over, and it's now a new day, in a better way. So in 2023, expect a vibrant, thriving marijuana industry.
Laughing matter, my Straight Dog family. 2023 was 2 years ago. That makes his announcement even more ridiculous. It also showed a deep misunderstanding of the agricultural sector's challenges. Additionally, the questionable policy move to send local farmers to the land to grow peppers for Tabasco, a multinational company, my Straight Dog family, is like going back to colonialism. And we ask ourselves, is that the reason Prime Minister July went to see the King, King Charles III? This initiative, which will benefit of foreign cooperation more than local farmers, is a form of recolonization, my Straight Dog family. Yes, this initiative about Tabasco farming.
Our agricultural sector is also undergoing a transformation as we seek to reduce our dependency on imports and empower our local farmers. In this regard, we have partnered with Tabasco to provide our farmers with an unprecedented opportunity to cultivate high-quality peppers for export. Your government has secured the necessary equipment and location to support this initiative, ensuring that our farmers can benefit from this lucrative global market.
A form, like I said, my Straight Dog family, of economic recolonization. But what about our health and education, my Straight Dog family? There has been the chronic underinvestment in facilities, in training, and research. This neglect has led to poor outcomes in health and education, leaving the country struggling to meet the needs of its citizens in these essential areas. The education leader is a self-declared slow student, my straight dog family. So what do you expect?
I told you how I started off as a slow student. I went to 1A4, 2A4, 3G7, 4G6, 5th form, 5G6. And guess what? I repeated. So I was in school for quite a while.
Yes, my straight dog family. Yes, my straight dog family. With all the uncertainty, or must I say this declaration by the slow student reflects a broader issue of leadership, credibility, and the ability to inspire confidence in the education system. But with all this uncertainty that looms over this country, the government has now resorted to propaganda. And I haven't touched the tourism sector. But I must speak the truth, with no offense to anyone. I believe Marsha, although cat got Marsha tongue, in my view, the cruise ship sector is doing well. We've seen 4 ships here up to yesterday. And if Marsha continues that way, having received that start from her predecessor, and of course, the fact that we have a second cruise pier that accommodates 2 of the Oasis class vessels simultaneously. But I must confess that in that sector, it appears, and I'm from the outside looking in, that the tourism sector under Marsha is doing well. Marsha won't say that because cat got Marsha tongue. But my straight dog family, the uncertainty still looms over the country. So this government has now resorted to what I call propaganda. And I saw this today, my straight dog family, coming from the Citizenship by Investment Unit. Record-breaking performance, it states, my straight dog family. St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Program sees record-breaking growth in 2024. Are we seeing right, my straight dog family? Do you believe that we are seeing right? It's pure propaganda. Because as it states, my straight dog family, that the Citizenship by Investment Program, the Citizenship by Investment Program, my straight dog family, the propaganda material states, has witnessed a surge in applications, recording remarkable 169% increase in the final quarter of 2024. And my straight dog family, I always told you that my strongest weak point is mathematics, and that is so true because I tried as I was coming to the program, coming to this section, because we understand that there were less than 20 applications submitted to the unit last year. So if you have a 169% increase, help me there, that's about 20, how many more? 20 and about 30 more applications, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you ask ourselves, that's besides the point. Where do these files come from? Straight Talk source in the market is telling us that nothing is happening. Nothing is selling. So how do we get that increase? Which service provider or providers are bringing these applications in? Be transparent. Have these files been sent to the Joint Regional Communication Center, the JRCC? Straight Talk is aware that the only market that is available to St. Kitts Nevis CBI is the Middle East. And we have learned that the Middle East has no appetite for our CBI. We have learned that the Middle East don't like the model that we are promoting and cannot trust the market after all the shenanigans with Philippe Martinez and Garth Lucifer Wilkin. St. Kitts Nevis cannot sell in China, for example. So where is this windfall coming from, or where did this windfall come from? Prime Minister Terence Michael July, tell us. Be transparent. The country is broke, we know. And July needs money. So a picture is painted that our CBI is in demand. If so, why don't you release the statistics like they do in Grenada? Look at Grenada. Grenada has a government in the sunshine. They release their figures. What was the income received from your record performance or record-breaking growth, Mr. St. Just? Tell us, Dr. July. Look at Grenada's statistics. That is transparency. That is good governance. That is integrity. That is about government in the sunshine, my Straight Dog family. Grenada sees record growth in its Citizenship by Investment program. And it states, Grenada's Citizenship by Investment CBI program recorded its second best performance in history, generating 1.16 billion Eastern Caribbean dollars or 412.5 million in revenue from 2024. That's transparency. So how much money did you generate in your record-breaking growth in 2024? Tell us. We need to know. As Grenada says, the milestone highlights the program's growth appeal to investors worldwide, seeking second citizenship through financial contributions or real estate investments. So, St. Just, don't come with those naive political propaganda. Do like Grenada, that sees record growth. That's record growth in 2024. And they give us a value of the growth. Give us the value of your record-breaking growth in 2024, St. Just and Terence Michael July. Grenada's citizenship program again recorded the second best in its history, generating $1.116 billion in 2024. So put your propaganda aside and tell us the facts. The public's perception of the administration has steadily declined over the past 3 years. Surveys, media reports, and interviews with citizens reflect widespread dissatisfaction with the government's handling of key issues. The loss of public trust in governance, the administration's failure to accumulate public trust has eroded and continues to erode. The government's inability to deliver on its promises, coupled with its poor track record on key issues, has led many to question its competence and commitment to improving the nation's future. My Straight Dog family, the country's hope for a better future hinge on a change of leadership. We must change this incompetent bunch of leaders. Our future hinges, or a better future hinges, I say, on a change of leadership, effective policy, and a commitment to inclusivity. With the right changes, my Straight Dog family, the Federation can overcome its current challenges and build a more sustainable, equitable future for all its citizens. Failing to do such, then we'll have one course, and one course only. Uncertainty looms over the future of our country. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. What I will do is open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, I anticipate that you will respect others. And to achieve that, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us, in the process, in saying and not doing those things, try to say the things that are beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis at 3 past the 9 o'clock hour. We go straight to our lines and take our first call or call you live. Good night. Good night, my dear brother. How art thou?
I'm fine.
You have your equipment on? You have your equipment on? Just move away. Move away. Move away.
That is,
yes, sir.
Psalms 107.
Yes, sir.
Here is your packet. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good.
Mercy.
For his mercy endured forever.
Yes.
It shall let the redeemed of the Lord say so, who he had redeemed from the hands of the enemy. That is, the word of God said, oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good. That is, God bring us over in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
God is good, Patrick.
All the time.
From January morning up to this present moment, God is good, Patrick.
Yes, I believe you. I can testify to that.
And so, Mr. Patrick, God is a wonderful God. So, Patrick, you lay down at night and you go to sleep. God wake you up in the morning.
Yep.
There is nobody else could do that. So you have to give God thanks and praise.
Yes.
And I am going to say to somebody tonight, give God your life. And God will take care of you. There is no other way, my brothers and sisters. God will do just as it said. And the last passage scripture I am going to say, Psalm 35, Psalm 37, sorry.
Fret not thyself, boy.
I was young verse 25. Now I'm old,
Okay.
yet I neither see the righteous forsaken,
Or the seed.
my seed begging bread. That is, God is going to look after the righteous people. When the righteous people cry, God hear them. And he accommodates that who is not saved, they are hard to give an account to God for everything that do. There is no middle ground.
Okay.
And you can't go when judgment morning, you cannot have no witnesses.
No,
So, Mr. Patrick, tonight I am glad to know I am on the land of the living, that I could talk to somebody every night, Monday and Thursday. Patrick, you have a pleasant day, a pleasant night, and a pleasant weekend. And I thank you, and the Lord will strengthen you to see another day. Bye.
Thank you very much, the Bible man, for your spiritual interventions. And you always like to get in first, and you certainly did tonight. But we always look forward, like I said, to your spiritual intervention. You stumped me there. You said, Psalm 37, fret not thyself, but you went to what, verse 25. Nonetheless, we always welcome your interventions. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding call at your live. It's 9.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my dear. How about that?
I am great. The quote for this evening: nothing turned out to be so oppressive and unjust a feeble government. I repeat, nothing turns out to be so oppressive and unjust a feeble government. Have a great evening.
As a feeble government?
Feeble government.
So oppressive and unjust.
Nothing turns out to be so oppressive and unjust. A feeble government.
A feeble government. Okay.
Feeble. F-E-E-B-L-E. Feeble.
Okay, I thought you said as a feeble government. It's a feeble government. You said.
A feeble government.
So there's no as. Thank you very much for your quotations as usual.
You're welcome.
And always good to hear you. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Yes. Good night, Brother Patches.
Good night,
Good
my
night
dear brother.
to all the lovely listeners who are in tune to this educational, inspirational, with admiration program. Thank you.
I am humbled.
To the host.
I am humbled. I'm humbled.
Patches, I have some concern. As I've heard, and as everyone knows, government is continuous, and government should be continuous. Now, from one good governance to another good governance. But if governance gonna spite one governance, how would be a meeting of the mind in the country, in the federation? Now, government are responsible for lands. And I'm talking about crown lands. Crown lands are government lands. I'm not talking about private lands. Now, if the previous administration had the chance to sell land, sold land, or receive applications that were processed for a proper transaction, the question is, why are hundreds of people who were allocated land by the previous government, which was Team Unity, cannot get lands? And why is the Drew Labour government preventing them from completing the process. Why? Is this a political whiplash? Is this a political grudge? That is a question. And I believe, yes, it's a political grudge. Now, some people have already surveyed their lots, and some have started payment before the new government halted the process and put them on hold. Why? Dr. Drew and your administration and the person who is in charge of the lands, who have that portfolio, why are you playing politics with the lands? Isn't the land prioritized for the local people, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, or they are prioritized for the big foreign investors that take such a chunk of lands and rob us and not even paying? What are you going to do about that? Well, I am commanding you to get what belongs to us immediately. Immediately. And I will continue to ruffle you all feathers. And I'm going to call you out. And I'm going to tell you who I am. Because I ain't afraid of God, the Jew, the engineer, so to speak. Answer those questions, and you owe it to the Federation. Patches, thank you for that first round of talks. I'm looking forward for more. Bye for now.
Thank you very much for your intervention. And as you heard, the quotation advance for tonight, nothing turns out to be so oppressive and unjust as a feeble government. We go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches. Good night. How are you?
I am peaceful, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm just a student of your class, you know. Try to tune into you to get the knowledge, because there was not information like that in the past, from the opposition party in the past. So now you're within the opposition category. You enlighten the people of the present government now, their shortcoming, you know, whatever, you know. So you help me to understand a little bit more about politics, and just don't take a politician as a politician, you know. So you're educating me. That's why sometimes I really pay attentive quietness to you and listen to you, and I give my opinion if I can, you know.
I'm humbled, my brother.
But that's what I want to. Yeah, what I want to say. You make some statement in your comments, right? Example, you use the word cohesion. I think in politics, you does not get much cohesion. There's always a division, and there's always somebody trying to overcome someone in reality. And then in the other statement, a guy came when you're talking about the aquifer Panspartia. A guy was saying that there's not a problem with that in the school there. But Patrick, if you listen to if you really understand science and water, if you understand water, I'm a plumber. If you understand water and an earth that is diverse with a lot of water, and you can build something on that earth, that area that have so many waters, something may not happen right away. There's a situation here where we have a school here called Conquering School. It's built on water, and it's just being condemned the other day because, you know, it's right by the sea.
Which school?
Yes. Hello?
Which school you said?
Conquering.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
and the federal government condemn it because it's by the sea, and in their opinion and their notion that anything could happen anytime, any disaster.
Where's that school?
That's right in the center of when you're going down by after party, the burying ground coming down there, by tropical shipping in the area there.
You're talking about St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, yeah. And
I forget the son. You're from St. Thomas, my son. I'm sorry. You lost me for a while.
Yeah. All right, Patches. Okay, well, you're in tune now. You're in tune. Yes, you're in tune. You're in tune. So, you know, when you really understand the geographic areas that have access of water, you know, and to build a structure, they build a bank of popular there, but they had to put in a lot of serious infrastructure in the ground because it was a working area. But when you talk about, let me come back to St. Kitts now. As a young lad, I know about Transpasture. And in my own opinion, this is just my opinion, to put a school there, it was very dangerous because it is a flood zone and the sea also is stuck in it. And it may not have been a destruction right away, but in the future, it could have been very destructive for the students who would be educating there. So everybody, that young guy who spoke on your call and your thing that's a while ago, I think he's off track. You know, I mean, he may study his scientific areas of water, but he's off track. It's a terrible zone to establish a school there.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm really
no problem. That's that dialogue. We're dialoguing.
I think I need to provide some clarity, if I may, so that because we have a lot of listeners all over the world, right? And
right.
Where the school was being located is what we call on the downside of the aquifer. The Bastia Valley Aquifer, and I'm sure you are familiar with it. It spans, I think, about 500 square miles or more. It's maybe more.
Square miles.
Right?
Right.
Starting at the Olives Mountain in the west. You know Olives Mountain, right?
Right.
Spanning the Canada Hills. Canada Hills up there behind Bayfords and the area. And Connery Hills in the east. That's the aquifer. So the water comes from all the way uphill, upstream, I should say, right? And we have what is called, we have porous soil. We have sandy loam soil, which has high porosity, as many would say, right? And the water trickles all the way down underground, right? And it settles in the Bastia Aquifer well field. The well field, if you know St. Kitts, and you know St. Kitts well, is east of the Kim Collins Highway. When you're coming from the airport, you look to the east under the mountains. That's where the well field is. You mentioned Pond's Pasture. Pond's Pasture was just a pond until Bradshaw brought some stone and terrace soil from Connery and filled Pond's Pasture. The aquifer, the school was just going north of Pond's Pasture. So that water was never and will never ever be potable water or drinkable water. So there was never a threat. And that is what the engineer and the hydrogeologist Williams was saying. So I want to make that point so we could I understand what you say about St. Thomas. This is not down by the sea really. This is miles from the sea. We do have the salt water intrusionness, depends on the sea level, but that was never a threat. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'll give you back your time, but I wanted to make that point.
Patches, that's what conversation is all about. I respect your opinion, Patches. We are dialoguing. But Patches, are you aware all by the fire station there and those houses, although they do flood out at certain time?
Yes, because we are on the aquifer. We are on the aquifer. That's what I'm making the same point. But that water there is not water you can drink. It is brackish water.
So I know you're from that area, right?
Yes, born, raised, and still live.
Right. But are you aware? I mean, I do not know if you used to go to what do you call it? The area where they do the agriculture by the Chinese, all those areas up there. The Chinese had the agriculture farm up there. Yes, are you aware that all over? Nevis. Yes. Are you aware all there is really
that's the
a whole aquifer of water there.
Yes, you're right. And where the Taiwanese were still are was the east side where they have the well field, because next to the Taiwanese, beg your pardon, is the well. There's a well there by Connery, just by the Connery play field. That's the first well. So there's where the danger comes in if you go that side. Yeah, but make a point. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So are you aware that if they put down boulders, serious column in the earth to lift the school above the land so that you could have parking under there, are you aware that all those columns could be deteriorating in many years? The seals them could be deteriorating by the salt of the water and everything. Are you aware of that? It could be very destructive in the long run.
Well, they'll build the school.
By building a school there?
They'll build the school in the engineering, that whoever are the engineers will provide the engineering solution. That's not up my street. That's beyond my pay grade.
Okay. Right? Well, I have
the issue really was the threat to the aquifer and the water, as we said, some people say the water table.
Right.
There was no threat. There still is no threat. It was just pure politics.
Polluting the water, polluting. So what sewage system you all would have installed to avoid not polluting the water? What kind of sewage system you all would have used?
Well, there was plans to put in a sewage treatment plant and proper storm drains as well.
Yeah, but what about if you have seepage? They'll crack it and you have seepage. All these things you have to look at.
Yeah, but again, I think you're missing the point that the well field is miles away. The well field is beyond the Kim Collins Highway to the east. That's where we get that's where the wells are. That's where all the water is pumped from, not down there by the school. The same minister was making noise lives on just about 50 yards from the school.
Okay, I got more from that one. Yes, look at Chadwell. Look at Chadwell.
Yeah, but
give me 1 minute.
I'll give you 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look at Chadwell. Yeah. Chadwell have a situation where now the wells them are contaminated, right? Mm-hmm. You know what? You know why the reason why the wells them are contaminated in Chadwell?
Well,
and I know
this is arsenic, an over concentration of arsenic.
But you know what created that?
Well, I don't know how did it take.
And I told, because there's so many housing built in Shadwell, right? Mm-hmm. Close to the wells, that the sewage water is leaking to the streams of the earth and going to the wells.
It's possible, we don't know.
Where the wells get the water from. Mm-hmm. And I told somebody that sometime the Shadwell water is no good. From so many years, I told a prominent person that the Shadwell water, I taste the Shadwell water. Okay. It's not good. It's very polluted. It's cancerous. Because there are too many housing built in that area there, Mr. Patrick.
What about the Kian water?
The same thing. Too many. You can't build a well where there's a lot of houses are.
Okay.
You cannot do that.
Okay. I'm going to get a lot of licks for that, but I want to thank you for your intervention. We've had a good conversation. And always welcome.
Thank you, Patrick. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
My
straight dog family, I need to understand. I gave that caller some additional time because I think we're providing an education for those who didn't understand the aquifer, because there's so many wrong things that are being said about the aquifer. Caller, I want to thank you. Yes, caller. Thank you for holding your live. Thank you for holding.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Well, I am peaceful here, but I want to tell you something that I was reading. You know, I like to read. I want you to listen and tell me how it sounds, right?
Uh-huh.
Listen, just tell me how it sounds. I'm taking it slowly. Right. There is no enemy outside our soul. The real enemy is inside of us. And I can give you 4 things why the enemy is supposed to be inside us. Anger. Listen, anger. Pride. Greed. And hate. Mm-hmm. So what we have to do, we have to avoid all of these things. that we can enjoy a peaceful life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Huh?
yes, Major. Yes, Major.
Yes, because no, this is how this thing going because everybody's saying things. I quite agree with what this gentleman was saying. But I mean, some of the time they take so long that some of them others forget something. Remember, I'm not a young man now, girl. I'm not a young man. So therefore, when I get the thing, even if they give me about 15 minutes and then they talk, because I'm not a talker. I am not a talker. I'm a reader. I am not a talker. And that is why I want this to stick in your head. That there is no enemy outside our soul. The real enemy is inside of us. The real enemy is inside of us. And the enemy is anger. People getting angry. Some people, they got too much of pride. And they're greedy and they hate. You understand? And once that is thing, we have to avoid all that if we want to enjoy a peaceful life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Major. Always come with your thought-provoking contributions. It's 27 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. And if you have just joined me, my Straight Dog family, we are looking at our thesis for tonight, which I have titled, as I said, Uncertainty Looms over the future of our country. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding caller. You're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Mr. Patches, man. Yeah, good night, man. How you doing, Patches, man?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. That was a nice exchange there by you and that guy.
Thank you.
I don't know if, for clarity, I don't know if you said 500. The aquifer covers 500 square miles. I don't know if you said that or if you meant 500 acres.
I always get it wrong. I think it's that though.
500 acres, right?
Acres. I said square miles. Yes, acres. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah, no problem.
That's what Straight Talk is all about. 500 acres. I think it's more than that though. But
Yeah. 500 plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, quickly, man.
Yes, acres.
I'm glad. Yeah, acres. Yeah, acres. Yeah. I want to commend the Grenadian Prime Minister for bringing out those stats under CBI, because somehow along the line we play politics with all this stuff. Because as you notice, right, there was, like you mentioned in your soliloquy earlier. They put out amidst all the stuff that's going on to the north of us with this new president, Donald Trump. I haven't heard from the Prime Minister about addressing the fact that they might be sending home some people from this country. Him being the Minister of National Security, he should be proactive and come forward and talk to the people about that, because those are our citizens that's going to need reintegration back into the society. With that said, we're looking at the tariffs as well. And we already got some exorbitant prices at the ports in terms of import duties and stuff like that. And he needs to also talk about those tariffs, because if those tariffs go into place in the United States, it's definitely a domino effect down to the Caribbean. And let me get back to the CBI program. I remember one time you put out some stats with Grenada, and I want to commend the Prime Minister up there again. And I believe, if I could remember closely, they were projecting 782 million in receipts last year for 2024. So with you bringing that stats, and you're now saying that they collected $1.16 billion, man, that is commendable. That is very commendable. So let me compare that back to our federation. You mentioned it tonight. They hurried up and put out some information that the CBI receipts or application jumped 169%, you said?
Yes, that's what it said.
But what the listeners got to listen to is what is, like you stated this loud and clear, this like tonight earlier. when you was talking, before you said what you said, I was asking myself the question, what is this 169% increase is compared to?
Exactly.
And then you said there was 20 applications the year before, 2023, right?
Yes. 2020,
So
2020, yeah. 2020,
yeah. So what the people,
2024,
right?
2024,
Yeah,
2024.
I stand corrected too. I stand corrected. But the point I'm trying to drive home is the people cannot be deceived. You know, when you're talking about a 169% increase, what number is that compared to?
Yeah, number passports and the
20.
the value of
Yes.
of the fees collected. You know.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. So don't be fooled. I'm just putting that out there to your straight talk listeners. Do not be fooled.
Because
it's all said.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but I was gonna say that is what Grenada did. They put out the value of the sales, right? $1.16 billion.
$1.6 billion. Yeah,
that's totally what it is.
That's
ours don't have a value. You know.
So the bottom line is we cannot compete. We cannot compete and we can't compare.
Exactly.
And do not be looking at that 169% increase like it's a lot of increase. But if it's compared to a small figure, it's not a lot of increase at all. So the people, your listeners tonight, cannot be deceived.
Not at all.
The whole bottom line, man, when we look at what's going on in the United States, we as a small federation needs to get prepared. We need to pump some serious money into agriculture. And big up to the one Banky over in Nevis and Yasan Tafari out in California. Those two brothers have been making a push for agriculture in the federation, and they're not getting the help they need. And all I want to say, man, in closing, is we got to step up as a country, man. We got to step up. There's no time to waste, man. It's too much talking. And the rest of them that can't get that Buckley's Monument or Buckley's Park up to now, they need to go and protest and put the pressure on the government to get that done ASAP. Because when the government want to do stuff with whatever money, they're finding the money, like you said tonight. They found money for geothermal, but they cannot find money for a start in terms of the Buckley's uprising, acknowledging those people who revolted. They cannot get that done yet. It's too much talk. Me, myself, I would have liked them to see them complete that Buckley's thing, put something substantial there, and then go back to doing the Bratcher Museum. Because all the money they spent on that Bratcher Museum, and that museum can't get completed yet, they could have already done completed the Buckley's monument and park for the people, especially for the Rastafarians now. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for your intervention as well. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings, brother Patches.
Hey, greetings, my brother. How art thou?
Yeah, Rascalungi. How are you doing?
I'm peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm peaceful myself. Your thesis was very interesting tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just like to say what Granny say, love one another. What Granny say, respect one another. What Granny say, one people, one aim, one destiny. What Granny say, reparations by any means necessary. This is the 90th anniversary. We just celebrated the 90th anniversary of the Buckley's Uprising.
That's right, yeah.
And I think the 15th or the 17th will be the 129th anniversary of the Portuguese Uprising. You aware of that one?
Well, I know of the Portuguese uprising, but I wasn't aware of the how long ago it was.
Yes, this month. I think it's either the 129th anniversary.
Okay.
That took place at Nevis in this month.
Okay.
And it was 40 years apart, basically, between the Portuguese uprising and the Buckley's uprising.
Okay.
So, like I say, the thesis was very interesting, the uncertainty. There is uncertainty everywhere. You think that Mr. Trump going to take us over sometime in the near future?
Take over St. Kitts and Nevis?
Yeah.
we have such value to Trump?
Well, he's taking over everything. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a beautiful country. Probably you might want to think it's a Riviera like the Gaza Strip.
But Trump built towers, you know. We think we could take all those towers? Those high rise?
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? He might come up with something, you know what I mean? But it's very interesting to see what is happening globally. And like I always maintain, what is happening globally is affecting the whole world. And here in St. Kitts in particular, that's why our economy is so slow. And remember you said in your thesis that we can't sell passport to Chinese. Did you say that?
Well, yes. What the point I'm making is a particular provider that controls the Chinese market. So.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you mean the Galaxy.
Yes, that.
Okay, good. Okay, now I'm clear. Yeah. But like I maintained before, and I told you, right? There's a serious attack on the CBI because the imperialists then feel like we're making too much money. I heard what you said about Grenada is very interesting, but I don't think they get to Grenada as yet. And remember, a lot of Russians was buying our passport. We can't sell passport to Russia after Russia invaded Ukraine. So my contention is that's why there's a drop also in the CBI. You're talking about the Middle East. You know, I mean, probably when Trump took over that part of the world, you know, in due time, you know, these guys might be able to buy more of our passport then. What do you think about that?
Well, Trump, as according to Trump, he's gonna create the atmosphere that you don't need to get out. You know.
Okay then, but you don't. But what I'm saying to you now, what Trump is saying, Trump, you know what is manifest destiny.
What is what?
Manifest destiny.
Educate us.
You know what the meaning is?
Educate us.
The white man have the right to rule the world.
Okay.
That's what manifest destiny means.
Okay.
And God give him that right. That means he's God. So what I'm saying to you, Trump mentioned that in his speech, in his inaugural speech, right? And like I'm saying to our people all the time, right? The political capitalist economy is in crisis. The hegemon, the U.S. empire, is losing its grip that he had when he had the Bretton Woods institution like the World Bank and the IMF, because BRICS is a counter institution towards the Bretton Woods institution. A lot of people is moving towards the BRICS. You understand? So all of that is what is impacting our economy. You know? And like I said, we in the African consciousness movement, we don't have a paralysis of analysis. We understand what is happening globally. And these things should be explained to our people. My contention is the sluggishness in our economy. Now, I'm not saying that the government is not wasting money. Don't get me wrong. Right? Don't get me wrong. I think we need to tighten our belt. You understand? I think we're wasting too much money. But what is really impacting us is the global situation. And as Mr. Trump invoked manifest destiny, my solution, right? And the way how I see it, I'm calling for when you talk about a convention for national unity and to develop a national consciousness amongst our people. We're talking about our people coming together in a unified force and to speak with one voice. That is the solution. When you look what is happening in the Sahel states, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, that is the solution to African people's problem on the globe. That is the solution. You put the imperialists them in check. But the only way we could do that, we have to speak with one voice. No, Mr. Trump is saying that native born, okay, not even that. Let me deal with this. You know, you want to deport Native Americans?
Well, I mean, I think at all times we must check the sources, right? Because there's a lot of. I'm not trying to defend anything here, but
No, I have my sources.
a lot of it, a lot of propaganda around, right? You know, but
No, listen to me.
yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
ICE arrested some Native Americans, but they released them.
Right. So
But he's
support them.
no, he could deport. He's using a legal term because what he's saying, okay, the Navajo or the Cherokee. This is what you call so-called tribes in the United States, Indian tribes, but they're really nations, just like in Africa. But the white man call them tribes. So what he's saying is that they don't have an allegiance to America; they have allegiance to their tribe. So based on that, he's saying that they don't have allegiance to America, so he could deport them. And he's taking it to court for that to happen. Now when it comes to black people now, we became citizens. You know about the Dred Scott decision?
I'll make a point now, Kalunji. I'm running out of time here. I have some callers.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna wind up now. What I'm saying to you now, the only solution to our people is for us to unite, not only here in the Federation, but globally.
Yes.
Especially in the Western world.
I agree with you.
That is the solution. We can't keep up this divide and rule anymore. Because Trump is serious. You understand? He's going to take Mexico, Canada, Panama. So where does that leave us as a people? So I'm going to wind up now. But what Granny said, unity is the only solution to this pollution. Give thanks. One love, my brother.
One love, my brother. Thanks as well. We going to take some of our emails. I haven't forgotten my emailers. And there's quite a lot of things we can get out of that contribution there by Kalunji as well about the manifest destiny, right? It's all about American imperialism, I think. But this email reads, let's take this call before I take this email. Caller, you're live.
Greetings, Mr. Patches. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm very good myself. Very interested thesis.
Thank you.
And I like the way you expound on your variation of topics. Mm-hmm. Uncertainty looms over the future of our country. Mr. Patches, if we say we are a Christian society, I don't see why uncertainty should be looming over the future of our country. Because you also let out some words, and some of the words I could remember doing the blessings of God's will. And if we so really on a positive note to do the blessings of God's will, we would stay on a spiritual path, you know, and we cannot continue to move as though we have got a template to develop our country since our independence. Because, look at it. The sharing of the revenue. I want to show you where sometimes we look down on each other or we don't want to listen. The sharing of the revenue. Even though Timothy told Mark about looking at the bank to look at something. The World Bank. Mm-hmm. Mind you, Mark, within his own common sense, could not see an independent reasoning about that. Because here he don't getting budgetary support from the federal administration, you know, and getting different things. And with the revenue sharing, the unity government ain't object, you know. Mind you, he within the federal cabinet, you know. The unity government ain't object. But yes, still, he had a problem with the idea about the World Bank. when he should not have no problem if he saw talking about transparency, because all that is about transparency. He ain't holding back anything. They putting everything there forward. Another thing to touch on, and whether some people don't want to hear it, yes or not. To me, some persons who have academic education have a kind of beef with Timothy, whatever it is, and they want to put that kind of grief on the country, because the unity government was governing St. Kitts, and you show you where policies was put in place to develop the country. And here is it. Under a pandemic, a Governor General of the Central Bank could have said, saying it put buffers in place. That's why when you have certain strength financially, you know to control yourself. That's why we could control yourself during the pandemic. Some countries had to open up swiftly, and the Governor General talked about that, is because they didn't put no buffers in place. St. Kitts now, on the other hand, take care because it's about life. This ain't got nothing to do with party, nothing. This is about interest of your people. Mr. Patches, we have sun all around. Why we can't invest in solar? Here is an advisor going to say the solar project is a good project. Why government must turn that down? Why you must turn on that? Whereas we have the resources of energy coming from the sun. So, uncertainty, we shouldn't be looking at no uncertainty. We should be striving for positivity in these times. Mr. Patches, you continue to be strong. And not only, Mr. Patches, from the Caribbean countries, talk like Trump. Trump say America for Americans. Say Caribbean for Caribbean people. Mr. Patches, you continue to be strong and stay healthy. God bless.
Thank you, my brother. You do likewise as well. Always welcome your interventions. And I before I forget, I did make mention earlier that I mentioned square miles. I mentioned 500 acres, and I've been jogging my memory from since I introduced that the acreage within the Bastia Valley Aquifer, and I stand corrected, but I believe it's 5,000 acres, because the 500 acres is just there by the Wellfield area, where the national park would be situated. So I think it's 5,000 acres, but I'll reconfirm that when I come back. Ambassador, good evening. Reads this email. Patches, Garth Williams is no Wilkin. Lucifer, I know. Chuck, Elizabeth, and Mark, they are Wilkins. You are a hypocrite. You should resign. You cannot be trusted with privacy. Never mind the nation's secrets. You brought Mr. Smith to the Federation, so you are responsible for him, so you better check your boy Friday. You have to live here. He can go back to Antigua. But the man who killed Dr. Williams will be set free. Let us not kid ourselves. At the end of the day, Dr. July will have to tell us something. Good night, and God bless you. Reads this email. This other email reads, good night, Patches. On Tuesday night's Let's Talk show on Von Radio, the nation was thrown into a state of shock when a pastor called into the program to inform everyone that our new and current passport application form, in the column area which require an applicant to indicate his or her gender as either male or female, there has been some changes done to afford an applicant choices who doesn't wish to be affiliated as a man or a woman can now choose X or other instead of male or female. The pastor went on to say that these changes to have an individual applying for our passport who prefer not to be labeled as male or female but can choose X or other instead came about when President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took charge of the White House in 2020, and since 2020 they demanded of the Team Unity government that in order for us to get any U.S. aid and other aid, we must have these changes done to our passport and also to include in our school's curriculum the teaching of LGBTQ and woke agenda and the promotion of the gay pride movement. The Team Unity government gave an emphatic no to this directive, and so it was not implemented. Lo and behold, Patches, Dr. July's government, strapped for cash, quickly implemented the LGBTQ woke and gay pride movement directive and made the changes to our passport. They intended to implement the woke and LGBTQ agenda into our school's curriculum if they win in the next election. Patches, the Labour Party has a terrible history of doing everything illegal with our passports, as they did under Dougie when he removed the nationality of a holder from our passports, which brought swift sanctions which still affects us today, especially with the requirement of Canada imposing travel restrictions on us. Obviously, July made the changes thinking that Kamala Harris would have won the U.S. presidential elections, but as fate would have it, Donald Trump won, who is anti-woke, LGBTQ, and gay pride movement. I hope that Dr. July knows that his lack of respect for the citizens of this country have placed us directly in the path of the fury of President Trump, which can be comparable to a direct hit from a Category 5 hurricane, as the fallout from this ill-advised decision will be catastrophic. I wonder if the deafening silence of the Christian Council, the Evangelical Association, and the Ombudsman is an indication that they gave their seal of approval to this ungodly act, because a minister of religion is one such person who can recommend a passport. Reads this email. This other email reads, Dear Patches, Jew strikes again. Students in the nursing program were blocked by UE mourner for Jews' failure to pay the tuition. Are we really serious about our health care? How he find money to visit the king, but not to pay the tuition? Students are worried because they have no access to the UE portal. This puts them in a bad position for mid-semester exams and assignments that should be uploaded to UE's portal. Shame on this Jew Labor administration, reads this other email. A sign of complicity in migrant smuggling. Dear Patches, during today's roundtable's interview, Dr. Jew was asked about the fate of the Haitian migrants who arrived in St. Kitts and their boat allegedly capsized. His response, a smirk and a dismissive remark that they had moved on. But what exactly does move on mean? Information circulating suggests that each migrant pays a staggering $3,000 to be smuggled from St. Kitts through Nevis, put on mafia-controlled boats to St. Thomas, and then, funneled to the U.S. mainland. Is Dr. Joe aware of this? Is he silently following this human trafficking ring to operate under his watch? His smug response suggests indifference at best, complicity at worst. A true leader would be alarmed, taking action to investigate and shut down this criminal enterprise. Instead, Dr. July shrugs as if the illegal movement of people through our borders is just another transaction. Where is the immigration enforcement? Where are the policies to stop this? Or is it that Dr. Jew is too busy turning a blind eye while human smuggling trade thrives? Patches, the people need answers. Is our Prime Minister part of the problem? Good night, Patches. I am a pensioner and the following is a very true story. Patches, this young girl who was a classmate of mine and best friend, at 16 years, she started working for a big company in St. Kitts, Nevis, while I went to Ponds and Nevis to work until the sugar industry closed over Dr. Denzel Douglas's dead body. She was bright and energetic. She was the first to arrive at work and almost the last to leave work. She gave her heart and soul to the company. In those days, Patches, if a young woman gotten pregnant outside marriage, just like the government used to do, that company did the same in turning you away. She was married to her job as she had no children. When vacation time came, she never traveled but would drop in at work every day just to make sure everyone was okay. When the day of her retirement came, all the company presented her with was a used rocking chair. Before she died, shortly after of her broken heart, Patches, she confided in me that she regretted that she didn't follow me to the SSMC or Ponds or Nevis estate to work in the sugar industry, because at least she would have gotten her share of the $16 million that Team Unity paid. Now, Patches, we pensioners gave our entire life, our sweat and tears to build the Labour Party, and this nation. Leading up to the 2022 elections, Dr. Jew and his ministers came to us on their knees and serenaded us and promised us heavenly streets, paved with gold, and look how they betrayed us, Patches. We, the pensioners, were qualified in their eyes to attend all their public meetings and Labour Day marches. We were qualified when we took our 2 coppers from us and seized us unqualified and unworthy to be included in the budget boost wallet initiative. Patches, if they had given us even $100 a month, we would have been grateful, because the cost of living is impacting us hard, Patches. I cried night and day to see how my own Labour Party is treating us in our twilight years, given that we are battling NCD. Our foreparents were right when they used to tell us that our own lies always bite harder than a stranger's lies. My Labour Party's lies really stings harder than a big centipede. It is time to change the change. Patches reads this email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Yes, thank you again, Brother Patches, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Educator. I would like to address this other portion that is a concern also. Now, in respect to the agricultural sector in St. Kitts, St. Kitts could be very sustainable on the subsistence side and also on the export side. For instance, take into consideration the agricultural sector amongst the farmers who are, the very few handful farmers who are in the agricultural industry. Contrary to the young people who should be enhancing and grasping at that importance, which are ignored. Now, where is the failure? Because one must always be prepared for the unknown and always be optimistic. You'll never know when an unwelcome, unappreciating disaster will come into the country that deprive food, not just in St. Kitts, but affect the global economy. Now, how can a youth go into school and get that embedded knowledge in them to have that preparation for the future moving forward? Then they are just ignoring the importance of life. Our lands are very sustainable, but we have to find ways, education, through education, for each and every individual to take our land into consideration. Now, another situation I must touch. There are lots of produce could produce in the country. But some of it should be able to be exported. Now, there are some officials, like some people who are into the eggs, they have their market out there. They have their customers out there that they could cater to on the international side, on the export side. Now, how can that embedded into regular farmers who do produce like pumpkins, potatoes, yam, dashing, eddy, you name it? I believe some of these are elitists, and they're not willing to share the knowledge and not willing to spread the wealth. But we all have to come together in unity and have a playing field how we all can get along and share information so that it could be a happy ending and moving forward. Thank you for that.
Thank you for your intervention. And I'll just wrap with these emails. Patches, when institutions or individuals purchase lands from the government, they usually get it at a concessionary rate. When this is done, the purchaser must make proper use of the land, and that is particularly so if the land is purchased by an institution or corporate body. I say this because there is a parcel of land purchased by the Cairn Church of God located in Cairn for well over 10 to 15 years. Now, and except for what may be described as a false start building, the land just sits there doing nothing when people are in need to purchase land for their business places. I am calling the government to request that the church complete the construction, and if they do not do so in reasonable time, reacquire the land and sell it to the persons who are ready to make use of it. Land is too precious a commodity to lay at waste. Not certain if this emailer has their information accurate though. But Patches reads this email. Did July mention anything about the deal he signed with Christopher Harbour? Remember he said he was going to announce it in February. I didn't listen today. I changed the station. That guy July is too fake and lie. Always pretending like he cares about people when he's nothing but a selfish vagabond. Every time I listen to July speak, I often feel less intelligent than I was before. I'm avoiding listening to him for a while because I want to keep my intelligence. I don't want to become a stupid person by listening to him. Reads this email. Those are the emails, my Straight Talk family. And I can associate with that last email because with the greatest respect, when you listen to Dr. July, he insults your intelligence each time. The things he say, he has these say anything and do anything moments, especially say anything moments. Like he just says anything, it seems, that come to his mind. And when you look at his demeanor, he says it with so much authority. If you don't be careful, you would be in trouble. But as we wrap tonight's program in my Straight Dog family, for those who may have joined me in a tardy manner, our thesis, uncertainty looms over the future of our country. And in addressing this dissertation, this short thesis, we looked at the trade uncertainty, rippling and its ripple effects through the global markets, increasing the unpredictability for business, governments, and consumers alike. We made reference of the tariff threats by the U.S. In a nutshell, we made reference to the global uncertainty and governance that create the most challenges as we speak. The present global landscape is defined by uncertainty across all regions. My Straight Dog family. Many nations on the continent suffer from poor governance and widespread corruption. Corruption in public office leads to misallocation of resources. We made mention of that as well. In the Caribbean, a region often viewed as a haven of vibrant culture and natural beauty, governance issues cast a shadow over prospects for growth or for progress. And many governments in the Caribbean, and speaking of St. Kitts and Nevis, we operate in darkness with no transparency, opaque, as I said. No transparency in decision making and a lack of accountability in public office. And this, my straight dog family, leads to poor policy choices, inefficiency, corruption, and widespread frustration among the people. The common thread uniting these regions is the uncertainty driven by governance failures, whether through the erosion of trade relations, the inability to resolve conflicts, or systemic corruption and lack of transparency. And my straight dog family, when we looked at the framework, which is largely focused on tax avoidance, or that was the UN framework, unconventional and international tax cooperation that the AG boasts about. And I said, so what? But we also examined the importance of continuity in government projects, because these projects, particularly large infrastructure projects and development initiatives, require continuity to be successful. I made mention, and I will make mention many more times, of the Bastille High School project. This was, and money wasted just like that, $21 million gone down the drain, when in fact the current water engineer and manager said this.
I advise the government that the siting of the new Bastille High School at the said location at Ponds Estate does not pose a threat or danger to our potable water supply. I did so without any reservation or doubt.
And my straight dog family, the Solar Farm Initiative as well, suffered the same fate. When the special advisor to Dr. July said it was a good project coming from inside, this is exactly what he said, my straight dog family, about the project. It was a good project, having done all the analysis. He said this, my straight dog family.
It is a good project based on our own studies, calling in the expertise from right in the Caribbean to assess. It's a good project. Mm-hmm. They feel that it was properly assessed, and the costing was within the range of what it would cost anyway to do that.
And my straight dog family, believe it or not, July today came with a very confusing declaration, he called it. He said this.
We already have commitment for 50 megawatts of solar energy. And I can say today, maybe for the first time plainly, that we have raised the money to start geothermal. We have the money. I'm going to make a declaration very, very soon. I spoke to the Premier of Nevis. If you look at his page, he posted that he and I met. We met to discuss it. The Premier and I, we have met and we have determined, just like the crime situation, this is not going to be a political football.
My straight dog family, July said he has raised the money. According to the IMF, it would take $400 million to bring geothermal to the production stage. But then what was disgusting was the propaganda peddled by the Citizenship by Investment Unit about record-breaking growth in 2024. And we must ask ourselves the question, where did the files come from? We know Straight Talk source in the market is telling us that nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Nothing is selling. So we ask, which service provider, my Straight Talk family, which service provider or providers are bringing them in? I will take this and make this my final call for the night, only if this caller can use 30 seconds. Can you use 30 seconds, caller?
Yes, Patches.
Okay.
Patches, if I was Mr. Joe, I would have fired Edinburgh. Because he's contradicting what the government is saying, and he's advisor getting $10,000. I told the previous Prime Minister, not Timothy, that I know what is the problem with the high school. I sat with him, I sitting with him, I gave him my opinion, my analysis. I explained to him, and he told me the same thing I'm saying is what the scientists them said. I said, all you have to do, abolish the old sewer line that's mixed with the chemical water, and just keep the school and run new sewer line, those asbestos pipe, remove them, and we put the septic tank by itself, the sewage by itself, and the chemist water by itself, and problem solving the school. He agree with me, and Edinburgh, I would have fired him.
Okay, got you, my brother, got you. Thank you very much. Just make this my last caller. I'm going to give you 20 seconds. Can you use it?
Patches?
Yeah, yes, can you use 20 seconds?
Yeah, I use a minute and a half.
Okay, that's 60.
Listen to Patches, and listen all the time because I ain't going to sleep now. And this thing just come in my head, I say. And listen to this, I see if you like to hear it, because, I like to give you things to educate the whole thing. Hear what I am saying. If you want, listening, Patches, if you want light, yeah, into your life, what you should do? What you should do if you want light in your life, what you should do?
Tell the world, you tell the world.
Well, I will tell the world, if you want light in it, you got to stand in the way. You got to stand where the light is shining. That's it.
Okay.
You got to stand where the light is shining.
Okay, my brother.
Eh?
All right, got you.
What you laughing? Eh? It's a fact. If you want light in the light, what are you going to stay in the darkness?
You are a very astute individual. You get more astute as you grow older, I must admit. Thanks a lot, my brother. Thanks a lot.
Okay, you take care.
Yes. And we were saying, which service provider have these files being sent to the JRCC? My Straight Dog family. When I look at the stats provided by Grenada put a value to their business. $1.16 billion you can glean from that PowerPoint on your screens. But the public's perception, in conclusion, my Straight Dog family, of this administration has declined over the past going on to 3 years. Surveys, media reports, and interviews with citizens reflect, my Straight Dog family, widespread dissatisfaction with the government's handling of key issues. The disillusionment, the loss of public trust in governance, with his poor record on key issues, has led many to question the competence of July and his cabinet colleagues and their commitment to improving the nation's future. They're not about people, they're about themselves, improving themselves. But my Straight Talk family, the country's hope for a better future hinges on a change of leadership. We must change the change. If you are wanting to get effective policy and a commitment to inclusivity. With the right changes, my Straight Talk family, the Federation can overcome its current challenges and build a more sustainable, equitable future for all its citizens, not with this bunch. Failing to do that, the refrain will be the same, as uncertainty will loom over the future of our country. And that's my story tonight, my Street Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many listeners, those who called, and those who sent emails. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's spare, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful weekend.